Hello! Today I will be making a soap I'm very excited about. And this is my inspiration. It is Starry Night by Vincent Van Gogh. And I did make the moon and some of the stars out of soap dough already. And I'll be using this as my mold. This is a box, like a storage box for scrapbook pages. Scrapbooking being another one of my hobbies. And let's see. I did some markings on it. I hope I remember what they're for or which direction. Just to remind me as to where. Oh, this is the way it is. Just for me to place the colors. I know that where this line is where the city will be. And I actually painted this before. And it looked like this. And as you can see, I didn't do the houses because I thought it was too complicated. Which I was tempted with this soap not to do them either. However, I came up with an idea that I think will work. But I'm going to put this away for now. And I have my oils melted. And I'm going to put a link to the recipe on the description. This is currently at about 111 Fahrenheit. And my lye water, I prepared it yesterday. So it should be at room temperature today. This recipe has 75% of solid fats or oils. This is at 74. So it's pretty, I'm afraid it's gonna reach trace. Oh, sorry, that must be noisy. I'm afraid it's gonna reach trace fast. But I do like my soap to have a lot of solid fats and oils and butters so that it hardens fast and that it also becomes a long-lasting bar of soap. So I am putting the lye water through this strainer because I saw some residue or something on top of it, and when it does, I don't like it. Part of it is probably because it could have been in the container, but actually I think it's a reaction of some of the lye with the air. It creates some chemical product. It doesn't always happen though. So there. And at first I'm going to just stir it. I am at 102 temperature-wise Fahrenheit. And I do have my blender. So I'm going to blend it now until it reaches emulsion. And I'll put some music so you don't hear this noise. Alright, I believe I've reached emulsion now. I don't want to, I think I'm very close to being on thin trace. And I don't want to be there yet. Because I have several colors that I need to add. So I'm going to use this container and pour half of it. But before that, I do need to get water. What I have here is kaolin clay, and I'm going to mix it with a little bit of water. Now, when you add clays to your soap, you do need to mix it with water because they tend to absorb water. And there is ratios of how you do it. I've never used kaolin clay before, so this will be my first. think I need more water. I do have a water discount going on. I'm using the ratio method for the lye calculation and the water. So I am at 33%, meaning 33% it's lye and then the rest is water. And I see some clumps in it. So adding this extra water will not hurt it because I already had a water discount to begin with. And I am going to put about half of it here, and it's going to be colored with the kaolin clay. And this is what is going to be the canvas. So not all of it will have the colors of the painting, just the top half. So I'm thinking that's probably, let me add a little bit more. That looks around half or enough to cover the bottom part of it. So I'm going to add the clay mixed with the water. And then I'm going to add some of the fragrance to it. Now I'm using Crafter's Choice Clean Cotton Fragrance Oil. And the reason that I'm using it is because I figured that when Vincent Van Gogh was in the hospital, he was in a hospital, in a mental asylum, when he painted this. So my thinking is that it probably smelled very clean. And that's how I picked the fragrance. Now I also try to use a lot of clear or whitish oils and butters for this one, for this recipe. So hopefully this will become somewhat white. I also had some biodegradable glitter on it. But I'm going to weight this so that I know how much fragrance I need to put. Let's see. This is 42, almost 42 ounces, 41.75. My container weighs 2.6, so alright, so I have about 39 ounces of salt butter, which is about, it's almost half of the mix. So what I need to do now is add half of the fragrance to this, and this will be very defining because if the fragrance reviews, for some people it caused acceleration, but for some people it didn't. So I need to be careful with it. So this is 8 ounces. So I'm going to put, this is a 4-ounce bottle, which means I'm going to put about 2 ounces in here. And I'm going to mix it with a whisk so that it doesn't, so that if this accelerates, then I know what to expect with this other half. Now I also have clay, and the clay also tends to make the butter thick. And it smells pretty clean, actually. Just like it says, linen. It smells like linen, like the laundry linen. Clean laundry. Okay, so far it's so good. So I'm going to get my mold and pour this first half on it. I can feel it's getting thicker. and I need to stir it just to make sure that the fragrance gets thoroughly distributed. So about Van Gogh, what I found interesting is that he didn't think this piece was that good, and it's become one of the most known paintings of the 21st century, I believe. His period is post-impressionism. So, and something that I found a little bit sad is that in his lifetime, Van Gogh was not recognized for the master artist that he was. In his lifetime, he only sold one painting, and he sold it to an acquaintance. So, okay, I can see that this is getting thick. It could be, and it's getting warm. Now, my painting, I want it to be similar to his technique, which is the impasto technique. He, of course, did it with oils, and it took him, I would think, maybe 2 to 3 days to do it, because oils have a slow drying time. But I only had about, I would say, maybe 20 minutes. So I don't have as long as he did. So, of course, it's not going to be very exact. It's just going to be inspired by it. You know, I'm scraping everything, and I just remember that I do need to save some for the details on the top. Did you see this? There's bubbles popping. I noticed the water did this with the kaolin clay. I wonder how hot this is. It's 92. Did you see how bubbles form? I saw that when the clay was getting mixed with the water. Anyway, I do need to save some of this color for the top. So I'm going to leave it like that. And I need to put this, make sure it's somewhat even. And this will be my canvas. Now I know that these edges are not they're not straight, but I will either trim those or I will keep the corners for myself. We'll see. So now with the other half, let's see how it's doing. It's still in emulsification status, and I did mix my micas with oils, part of the oil of the mix yesterday. So I have 4 main colors, and I'm going to add the remaining part of this, and I know I'm gonna have to act fast after I do that, because even though I am doing it at low temperatures, you can see how this is turning some of the solid fats white already. And part of it is also because of my high percentage maybe of solid oils, and also because of my water discount. Usually if you have something that accelerates, you want to have a more fluid mix, like more liquid oils. But I do want the top to be somewhat thick, because it will resemble more of the impasto technique. And I hope I'm pronouncing this properly. So what I'm going to do with this is that I'm going to divide it into different containers. Some will be, the majority of it will be the blue, the light blue. Then I will have some of a little bit of yellow, little bit of green. Actually, I think the yellow, I'm just gonna mix it on that same container where it's that. And I need some lighter blue, darker blue, and green. So let's see. I hope I have enough of everything. I think I do. Oh, and then I need to save a little bit of the white, which I'll probably put on this. Or wait, I'm forgetting. I already have white here. So I may not need that. But I'm gonna save that as just as an extra for whichever. Or maybe I'll do the green here. And this extra I'm just gonna save for whichever one I may need. Now I'm gonna mix the colors from light to dark. Alright, so this is hard, as you can see. So it's time to act fast. And I think I'm going to put some main colors first. I'll probably do it with the spoon. So this part, I probably need to use all my powders of concentration. So I'll just put some music for you. And I may zoom it in. Okay, so this is what the final soap looks like, and here you can see the little houses that I make out of soap dough. I decided to add a little bit of mica on this green portion to sort of imitate the lighter green on the painting. So in the painting, if you look, this is the brightest start. It's surrounded by a lot of white paint versus the other ones that are yellow. I believe that's Venus, and I tried to highlight it on the soap by just putting silver glitter on around that one. And then on the moon and the other stars, I put gold glitter. So I do like that the fragrance allowed me to work on it for as long as I wanted. Pretty much, I redid it several times, as you could see in the video. I did fast forward some because I did work for quite a bit on it though. And I should be able to unmold it hopefully tomorrow, and hopefully it's easy to release it out of this scrapbook storage box. Okay, so it's been about 24 hours since I poured the soap, and I can see that there is some soda ash. It feels, I also poured leftover soap here, and I can tell that it's somewhat hard, but still not completely hard. However, when I pulled on the edges, this one, it's stuck, but the other sides seem to have a good release. So I'm gonna try to get it out, mainly because I want to see how thick it is, and if it is too thin, I'm going to attempt to do a second layer at the bottom. So I'm going to flip it, and hopefully, and you can see how it's releasing on itself. I'm not really making much pressure, but the airlock, it's releasing, and if I keep pressing, it's only here now. So yeah, it looks like I'm having a clean release, and it does seem too thin to my taste. It's about an inch, but slightly shorter than 1 inch. What I'm going to do is that I'm going to cover it with saran wrap to keep this moist, or it actually feels very dry now. But to keep it from drying anything further, I'm going to cover it with saran wrap. And then I'm going to make some more soap, put it here, let it dry a little bit, and then put this one on top. And hopefully that will work. And after that, I should be able to cut it.